I got some type of negative cranking, but hopefully doesn't get me for any copyright violations. I just figured I'd grab, if I grab any footage, it'd be this sweet speed collar, this Icon from Harbor Freight. It's sweet from the impact for taking wheels off. I've actually never tried it on this, but I bought the collar and I want to check it out, so here we go. Alright. So I was saying some of the younger content creators were inspiring me to pick up a camera again. I only did a few videos a long time ago when I was trying to support my brother and my cousin's parts company. But I used to, when I was a college student, I was freelancing as a journalist. I used to write articles for Dirt Wheels, ATV.com. So I used to write, like I was saying, I used to write for Dirt Wheels, ATV.com. Had a partnership with John Pellin at ATV Scene. Every now and then would write stuff for him, and he'd sponsor or he'd spotlight some products we were working on or making. And yeah, so that's what I meant by picking the camera up again. You know, I used to shoot. Let's see, this is a better angle. So I used to shoot for, used to shoot stills and stuff for Dirt Wheel stuff, ATV.com coverage. Didn't do a lot of videos, so try it out with this build. See how it goes. Just taking the rear end apart right now. Should be easy. Took it apart not too long ago. And I don't have an impact socket for this because I skip set. Do I? 24. There we go. Good old Ulsa tools. The guy that, so I have this Ulsa impact set. The guy that owns and started Ulsa Tools is a rider. So they have a cool video on their YouTube page. It shows him riding a 250R and stuff. It's pretty cool. Word of caution, only use your impacts taking stuff apart on these. I already loosened the axle nuts, so that should be fairly easy to keep getting the rear end apart. If I waited to get the tires off and the axle nuts off, or the wheel nuts off, it would have been a pain in the ass to get this loose. Anyhow, keep plugging away. My axle bearings are seized. It's funny because I think I started this video saying, oh, I just had the rear end apart a couple of years ago. It should go real easy. We'll start with that first. Yeah, brilliant, Matt. Rear end is a pain in the ass so far. Had to break out the freaking Dominator pry bar. Trying not to mar up the aluminum on the axle bearing carrier. I'm gonna beat the shit out of this. This Dominator is nice. This was on Jeff's Garage Adventures channel. He's a fan of Mayhew. I think Will did too, but he recommended this Dominator Mayhew, and it's good for a big straight pry bar. I was beating on the axle, but I don't want to mushroom my threads for the castle nut, for the hub. So I'm trying to drive on the sprocket, back of the sprocket hub with this pry bar. Maybe I need to step up the hammer game. So I'm using that dead blow. It's a 5-pounder. This is a 32 ounce, but it's ball peen. It might have a little bit more shock to it. Let's see. Not sure if it's budging at all. It's a little easier to swing, but I don't think it has as much force as that rubber one. A little more direct. Alright, so new plan. I think because the axle seized in the bearings, I'm going to take the swing arm off and then take it over to the press and see if I can press the axle out of the carrier. Holy shit, that sounds insane. Alright, let's give it a shot. Alright, here's how we know things are getting serious. I had to move the truck so that I could get to the press. Oh, so where last we left our intrepid hero, I was trying to get the axle out of the RPM bearing carrier that I put in, I can't remember, probably less than 10 hours ago. And already the axle is seized in the bearing carrier. Now it's a sealed carrier, so the bearings are sealed as well. I almost wish now I had gotten the version that I've got in my EFI quad that is a greasable bearing carrier. But I cheaped out because this is my Woods quad, so maybe I'm going to have to order another RPM carrier. Unless I can't afford it, then I'll press out the existing bearings and put some new ones in. Anyway, trying to get the swing arm off still so that I can take it to the press and try and use the press to get the axle out of the carrier. So hopefully we'll be back when the rear end's apart. Alright, so this is either an example of how woefully unprepared I am, or, you know, just my usual luck. I put my press on this dolly so I could wheel it around the garage, but because it's got this wood base, instead of using casters, the axle won't fit even with the press all the way up. So I'm going to have to cut out a notch for the axle to pass through all the way to the floor. It's actually a good thing I put it on this platform because it gives me even more clearance, because if I just had this on the ground or just on casters, even then, because it's not tall enough, I might not have enough room to try and use it to pop the axle out of the bearing carrier. So anyway, the saga continues. Alright, so got to get the old Makita MFer to get this job done. Seriously, I'm just using it on the stand for the press. If I have to use it on that thing or the axle, then you know where to fuck. Alright kids, learn from my failures. The axle's definitely seized inside the bearing carrier into the bearings. So I tried to press it out and through, and it's so seized that the force that I was putting on it mushroomed the ends of the axle. So it gives me an excuse to buy a new axle, but I did not want to spend that much. Anyhow, the axle's still stuck, so I'm working on getting the carrier out of the swing arm so that I can hopefully have something easier to manage for pressing the axle out, like I have on the EFI quad.
Galaxy S25 Ultra. The AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps, parts, Google Gemini account results.
I am glad I built this second workbench over here, so I've got two spaces. That one's almost completely full of tools, and I can work on bigger items over here.